Hi, I'm Stuart Gerber, co-artistic director of Bend Frequency, here with my second little video about Michael Pisaro's A Wave and Waves that we're presenting on October 15th at 6 p.m. At the corner of Martin Luther King and Forsyth Street in a parking deck. This piece, as I mentioned before, is for 100 percussionists or 100 percussion sounds. Some of the players are supposed to play stone, and they play this by dropping various items on the stone. So Michael calls for dropping rice onto stone, dropping seeds onto stone, or dropping pebbles onto stone. So those are kind of the three basic items that you can play the stone with. But in our experiments, we've been finding that there are many kind of different degrees of hardness within these kinds of different items. So just to give you an idea, especially if maybe you're playing one of these parts and preparing it for the performance, first of all, I'm using kind of a piece of granite, I think, like a countertop. We have another stone here. This thicker stone doesn't get as much resonance with the rice on it. So for the delicate sounds, I'm using something more like this. This granite. So here is the sound of rice on the granite. It's really delicate. But really beautiful too. One other thing maybe one might experiment with is something maybe a little bit heavier. So these are dried lentils. That's a really delicate sound too. Then he also calls, and maybe the lentils could be substitutes for rice. It just has a little bit more presence. Then for seeds, try some popcorn seeds, which is kind of a nice sound. Another possibility are just navy beans. This sounds really nice too. A little bit more muted than the popcorn seeds. And then lastly, he calls for pebbles to be dropped on the stone by one player. So have aquarium rocks that you can get at PetSmart, just small pebbles. And obviously these are kind of going to be the loudest, but this is what the pebbles sound like. Some of the other stone players play kind of friction sounds on the stone. So this kind of stone works well for this. There are 3 sandpaper players, I believe. Maybe 4. Four, I believe. Thank you. So I'll just show you kind of 2 different grades of sandpaper. This is kind of not a super fine, but a medium fine grade sandpaper, and this is what this would sound like. And then this is a coarser sandpaper, and you can hear the difference just between these two, and they're not actually that much difference, but the sound difference is pretty stark. And we have 95 more sounds that we're going to be making as well. So you can imagine 100 people making sounds like this kind of together and individually, and the audience will be intermixed, interspersed amongst the audience. It's going to be quite an event. Hope to see you at A Wave and Waves on October 15th.